Guys, I have terrible news. Did you know that we are part of an organized crime ring? Well, that's according to Sarah Boone. That's right. In her statement before her sentencing, she calls out everybody for not believing her and not forgiving her for suffocating her partner in a suitcase. But Sarah thinks that you should forgive her. Here is the sentencing. This is Sarah's fan character witness.
On the left-hand side of the screen for you to open on or turn on a camera. I don't know what device you're appearing on, if it's a cell phone or a laptop.
It is an iPhone. Should I try to re-enter the room?
Yeah, try to do that. There should be an option for you to pick a camera.
I believe this is somebody that's been writing to Sarah in prison, and she convinced them to testify for her in the trial. She had nobody. She had to get the pastor and a fellow inmate to testify on her character. It's not looking good. Do you guys need to be reminded of how quickly they handed down that guilty sentence? Because it was f***ing crazy.
All right, Miss Albert, tell the court a little bit about yourself briefly.
Well, I live in Minnesota. I currently have end-stage renal disease. Before I became disabled, I was a business owner in the Twin Cities here.
And have you had an occasion since this event
Here comes their... How do they know each
to establish a
other?
relationship with Sarah Boone?
Yes, I have. We have been friends for the past a little over 11 months.
And how do y'all communicate?
We've communicated a lot of phone calls, lots of tablet back and forth, and a lot of letters as well. I'd say many hours of time spent with each other.
All right, and do you want to speak on her behalf here today?
I would, please.
11
Would you please tell the
months.
court what you would like for the court to know?
Sarah did not have other friends that she had known for years or family members or anybody that was willing to testify to her character. Only somebody who was essentially like lonely or curious of her enough to reach out and write a letter.
I also want to extend my heartfelt condolences to everyone here affected by this terrible tragedy, which has brought us all here and listening in.
God.
Many articles and videos and opinions of Sarah have gone out in the airways and on the webs. Opinions that have been formed and commented on so much that it's hard not to give into the temptation to treat people like a comic book or a fictional character.
I mean, when you treat yourself like a fictional character, what are we supposed to do? You treat yourself like a fictional character and then I'm supposed to treat you like a real upstanding citizen? Get out of my house.
Case of my friend Sarah, the words narcissist, Karen, villain, many other things, they roll off the tongue with little regard to the humanity that is dismissed so flippantly.
I feel like all of those terms fit.
They roll off the tongue with little regard to the humanity that is dismissed so flippantly. And under a lot of circumstances, I was one of those people, as I have a love of true crime. And becoming friends with Sarah has shown me that there's a lot more depth to the people I see on the screen.
Lana, just because Sarah humanized herself to you does not mean that she is innocent. Isn't it kind of an interesting song and dance where somebody has done something objectively bad, whether it's to you or to a greater body of people or something, but when they humanize themselves to you and they're right in front of you, doesn't it kind of like pull at you? It's hard to stay objective and say what somebody said or did is wrong when they're talking directly to you. And it's even harder when they're saying that they're the victim. But Sarah on video locked her significant other up in a suitcase face down until he suffocated to death. I want to remind you, he didn't just run out of air in there. He died of positional suffocation, which means that his body was contorted in such a way that his legs and arms and everything were pressing on his lungs. His face was down. He could not breathe. The way that he died was incredibly claustrophobic and slow. Okay, it was slow and nightmarish. For a second, I was trying to give a little bit of grace to Lana, that this is a person that said, I identified her as a monster and a bad person, but I reached out. And then Sarah humanized herself to Lana, and then Lana said, oh, wait, oh my God. But I just want to be transparent. There is a benefit for Lana Albert here in reaching out to Sarah Boone. And it's not as friendly, and it's not as, innocent as they may be letting on to. Lana, as a true crime fan, now is attached to Sarah Boone. oh, I testified in the trial. Oh, Sarah Boone is my friend. Oh, Sarah and I talk. So, somebody goes from being somebody that's just in their day-to-day and maybe not happy with their life or bored or things are going on, or in this case, Lana is very, very sick with an end-stage disease. Well, now it's like, hey, I'm friends with Sarah Boone. For somebody that's like a true crime fan, this is like useful to her, okay? So this is not as innocent, and they're both getting something out of this.
The Sarah Boone I know is one who loves animals,
Okay.
especially the kind who are damaged and defenseless. How many of us would take in and pour love for a hearing impaired and a sight impaired pair of dogs? She has a natural instinct to help reach out and give of herself, her time and energy and love, especially to those who are hurting or damaged. And one huge example is in the matter of our friendship. As I said before, I have end-stage renal disease caused by a genetic illness called polycystic kidney disease. The moment Sarah had learned the depth of my struggles health-wise, she straight up offered strenuously to donate a kidney to me.
I'm sorry, that's a red flag to me. That's not a sweet gesture. I also think it's interesting that they're not registering. Like, when I told Sarah about my disease, she really opened up. Yeah, when you told Sarah that you were vulnerable, she realized that you're the exact type of person that she needs right now.
I've not had one outside of my brother who has offered me a kidney. That is huge.
Oh my God.
I don't have anything of equal value to give to her. And that's not the actions of a narcissist.
A narcissist saying that they would be willing to give you a kidney and then you doing them favors afterwards to try to pay them back with no confirmation that you're getting that kidney. And then also, like, her saying, oh, I would give you a kidney, and now Lana being like, well, I need to do all these things for you, when she doesn't even, are they the right blood type? Is it, yeah, no.
Out of all the shock and seriousness of what had happened in the court, the thing that made her emotionally break was that she realized she could no longer be a donor to me.
Oh, no! Lana, I'm so sorry. I can't even donate. Are you still going to do that thing? Because I did say that I would. So I would have.
She is not, nor does she come up anywhere remotely close to being a narcissist. And one more thing before I go. Social media has worked to rip the blindfold off of Lady Justice, to take the sword out of her right hand and start assassinating Sarah's character. However, the scales are the balance. As it says in Psalm 85, mercy and truth are met together. Righteousness and peace have kissed each other.
Lana, shut up. People that are not interested in true crime, yes, they do read headlines and they do get the trickle down of what the public opinion is. But for people that are pretty heavily into true crime, like me, like us or anything, we're not looking at headlines. I'm not pulling up articles here and reading through them and we're saying, oh, let's see how we feel based on this journalist's opinion. No, we're watching the raw footage. We are watching the raw footage of the body cams, the interrogation, the courtroom, how Sarah presents herself, what lies she tells, how people react to Sarah. There is no social media muddying of this case. Every single thing that we have watched has been with our own eyes, from her demeanor to the murder itself. What a strange and silly comment here. Part of me feels a little bit bad for Lana, but if Sarah were to have gotten a reduced sentence, she is just as culpable as the courts at this point. Like, that, it's crazy. Lord, please give me the strength to listen to Sarah Boone's words with courage and strength, just as the others in the courtroom have done today. I ask you to not let me get too triggered so that we can get through the video, and don't send me to the sunken place because I have stuff to do today and it's really hard for me to get out of disassociative space. Yeah, that's all I got. Thanks again, God. It's me, BOZE. We'll talk to you later. And same to chat to, get them strength. How are you supposed to say thank you, bye at the end of a prayer? How do you end a prayer? Oh, sorry. Amen. It's been so long, I forgot. I said, peace out, Jesus. Also, really quick, as a reminder, guys, yeah, sometimes I do some funny bits in my videos to diffuse a little bit of tension, but I think that when we come together in these cases, we are all treating it seriously. We are all genuinely seeking some form of justice here, and we just want to see the whole court procedure. Sometimes we lighten it up a little bit, but I ask you guys to take the cases just as seriously, okay?
I had a lot to say. I've had a lot of time to think about things, and I didn't really know how to put it on paper. I didn't know how much I could say or how little I should say. So
just a reminder, she was offered a plea deal here to plead guilty and take accountability and walk away. So personally, I think that there should be one word on the paper and it's guilty, and we should just move on from there.
Kintu Sukuroi is a kind of Japanese ceramic style which means to repair with gold.
The theatrics. The theatrics. Sarah Boone is also a drama queen. That's what she is. She's a drama queen.
In this tradition, when a ceramic piece breaks, an artisan will fuse the pieces back together again using liquid gold or gold dust lacquer. So rather than being covered up, the breaks become more obvious and a brilliant new piece of art emerges from the brokenness. It embraces flaws, weakness, and imperfections, and also teaches the essence of resilience. Every crack in a ceramic piece is a part of its history, and each piece becomes more beautiful because it has been broken. This is the wisdom of Kintu Sukuroi. In my wisdom and with all of my repairs, then, now, and ongoing, God is, has been, and will always be my artisan. All of my gold is forgiveness. This has held me together, made me shine brighter, and overcome the damage caused by George Torres, the Torres family, the justice system, Orange County Corrections Department, social media, scoundrel detectives, infamy.
She is the victim. Everyone's wrong except for me. George was wrong. George's family was wrong. The courts are wrong. Social media is wrong. If you don't believe me, you're wrong, and you're victimizing me.
Defamation, ongoing constitutional rights violations, second-degree murder, forced into being pro se. Just as gold is very precious, forgiveness is invaluable. Forgiveness is not an attempt to change or forget who, what, or how you've lived through to be so gold, but an act of grace, humility, and considerable self-compassion.
Bitch, shut the fuck up. I am so forgiving. You can walk all over me. You can spit on me. And if you tell me that you're sorry and why, and we move past it, I will forgive you, you know? I'm willing to forgive people if the weight that we're carrying is just too much for me and I just want to get rid of it. I'll do it, right? People like Sarah, they love you. They love you because they can walk all over you and you'll forgive them because it's too stressful for you to continue to hold that against them. Sarah loves people like you. She wants to abuse you and then she wants you to forgive her. And you should forgive her because forgiveness is good. So give it to me. Forgive me. Everybody, let's just forget about this and let me go home.
Forgiveness is not an attempt to change or forget who, what, or how you've lived through to be so gold, but an act of grace, humility, and considerable self-compassion to be set free from sorrow. Withholding forgiveness denies your brilliance and adds even greater grief and deeper heartache.
Listen to her manipulating everyone into giving her what she wants. What she wants is forgiveness, and she wants everybody to forget and move on. So she is actively trying to manipulate the family and the courts into forgiving her by saying that that is a greater human value that they should want and strive for. So give me the forgiveness.
Withholding forgiveness denies your brilliance and adds even greater grief and deeper heartache. Irreparable cracks on top of the already that no one deserves, no matter the pain or disappointment, untruths or injustice. It doesn't matter. As the more broken you are, even though now different than before, you've become more outstanding and more extraordinary. Above all, when you let go of blame, misunderstandings, excuses, give up your anger and cease from resentment, this is forgiven. And when you forgive, you heal. And when you heal, you move forward. My goal begins with George Torres, and every time he slapped me, kicked, punched, spit on, raped, stabbed, choked, laughed at, pushed, pulled, dragged, whipped, tripped, stole from,
tomatoes,
lied,
please give me the tomatoes. I need the tomatoes.
Humiliated, forced, degraded, made me cry. Every time he tried to end me, defeat, or destroy.
Crazy that she just said all of that stuff so maliciously and with so much conviction after giving her own little speech about forgiveness. George was murdered almost 5 years ago, but, you know, when she wants to try to use this shit that she made up to her advantage, forgiveness is out the door. This is not helpful to her case. This is personal. And personally, I think it's in bad taste. I think it's in really bad taste.
For making me experience what it is to be sodomized, threatening to kill my friends and the neighbors when they
What?
checked on me to make sure I was alive and in
Sarah!
one piece. For threatening to burn down our townhome and set my car on fire because I got a job. For holding me hostage on weekends my son was supposed to come over by keeping my keys around his neck, my phone in his crotch, and a butcher knife stuck in the middle of the table as a warning not to ask anything or try to leave. For stabbing me in the leg and not letting me call 911 for an ambulance or seek help, where I nearly bled to death until I concocted a lie to save him from being arrested. For destroying my phone with a hammer because my son called. For me experiencing ever being arrested and after today,
Destroying my phone with a hammer because my son called. Does anyone else see the pattern here of her saying all of these really horrible things, like claiming that George raped her, claiming that he sodomized her, like maliciously or something? Does anyone else see the correlation too of how, one, it's really fucked up that she's forcing survivors to make a choice of whether they believe her or not. I don't know. It's interesting. I'll let it play a little bit more, but I just didn't know if anyone else was noticing that.
I forgive George for lying, for him trying in so many ways, so many times, to end me with his terrifying love.
Wow. Her whole testimony is throwing
I
him
also
under the
forgive the
bus.
Torres family, his mother and father foremost, also his 2 ex-wives and daughters, all for knowing who George was capable of and has done in the past, his history of violence and where he learned it, than to keep turning a blind eye when I would ask for help. All of his siblings, including Farrell Torres, who is now on his way to prison for stabbing the mother of their baby in the side of their head. For everyone who knew what George was doing to me, sometimes how and when, but allowed and enabled. I hope they all ask themselves while quiet and comfortable in bed at night the uneasy question, what could I have done to stop this from happening to both of them? And after all the times Sarah tried to, by asking for help, from all of us and so many times. Another great contributor of my gold is social media, with its greed, insensitivity, deception, obvious exploitation, and advantageous gain from my criminal case as a whole,
Sarah.
and for sentencing me by anticipation as a result of ignorance and hate,
Sarah.
conjured and fabricated by
Did she just call me hateful and ignorant? Bitch, we watched the body cam footage. Come on.
conjured and fabricated by the organized crime that is social media. which
Organized
condemns me in a
crime.
court of-
Chat, you organized criminals. It's his family. It's the judge. It's the court. And guess what else? It's you guys too. But you know what? If you turn around right now, you can fix this. You can actually be an upstanding member of society. And all you have to do is believe Sarah Boone, you piece of shit. You're a fucking criminal. You know why? Because you don't forgive her and you don't believe her. Because listen to what she's saying. Can you just fucking stop and believe her? Dude, this is crazy. This is crazy.
Social media has made me a pariah. It has caused great oppression and undeniable disadvantages, especially by broadcasting and manipulating my cases online. In my criminal case, as a result, my opportunities to be given a fair, proper, and uninfluenced, successful conclusion was heavily depleted and poisoned. I forgive them. Also,
Thanks,
all of
Sarah.
the media tycoons for not having a life of their own, trying so desperately to make
And the-
themselves seem so right
and
by
the
making me
media.
appear so wrong.
Guys, Sarah might be right. This is one of those shocking scenarios where every single person was wrong except the potential killer. Every single person was completely wrong, and there was just something that they weren't seeing, and they need to forgive. So
Lies, making and taking blood money from my and others' misfortunes, accidents, and catastrophes. It's all over their hands and their keyboards.
bitch.
And even after all that's been said and done, theorized, hypothesized, scrutinized, and blasphemed, in all of my forgiveness, George is my greatest lesson and will forever be a part of me. I think of him every day and still speak to him when alone on the rec yard. I ask his forgiveness and that he looks for me at the gates of heaven so I can tell him how sorry I am, endlessly, and that I never stopped loving him. In all of it and still. When I first came to jail, I put my mat under my bed and cried all day and all night for months, only falling asleep from being so exhausted with grief. I wrote him letters. I wrote his family and his daughters, apologizing for asking for their forgiveness. But due to fear that my life or sons would be jeopardized, I did not send. I cannot begin to fathom any of their grief.
Is it me or was that? And I am sorry. That was so dramatic.
And I am sorry. I cannot begin to fathom any of their grief and sadness.
She's such a little weirdo.
Please forgive me. Almost everything reminds me of him, seeing my stab wound especially every day especially.
She said, everything reminds me of him. Even my stab wound from when he stabbed me. I care about him so much. What if I don't even have to break anything down for you with that? You are a smart, intelligent person, and we've watched enough of these videos together. What a piece of shit.
In my heart, I know he is with me and understands that this tragedy was not intentional. I hope everyone can, his family foremost.
The fact, I do believe that she didn't believe that he was going to die the next day. I do kind of believe that. The fact that you are so abusive, you can accidentally kill your partner is fucking crazy. It means that you are doing shit that is at risk of death and not caring. I think being able to kill somebody accidentally just through your passive abusive methods is just as fucking terrifying.
Wholehearted, his family foremost. I didn't mean for this to happen.
Sorry, Sarah, the social media police are here again.
I would never. Forgive me, George.
No.
Forgive me, Torres family. Forgive me, Judge Cranick.
No.
To the entire planet, please forgive me.
No. And by the way, hey, for my little forgiving people, my sweet little baby angels with all their empathy and don't set boundaries and they're stressed all the time, I need you to know, somebody can look at you so humanly and say, please forgive me. And you know what you can say to them? Not right now. Or you know what? No.
I graciously and humbly ask for consideration, for forgiveness to be extended instead of judgment, for reconciliation and restoration for all of us to move forward. My apology is profuse and ceaseless. Allow me, please, to brush off the muck, wipe the blood off of my face, and fix the cuts in my skin.
Oh my God! I told you, she's a drama queen. She's dramatic.
I ask for understanding in what really happened and for how long, for second chances, repentance, and redemption, to advocate for all domestic violence survivors, to help them overcome, heal, and still hope, always, to make their voices heard, to confidently walk with all of their scars on the outside and the inside, to help them not ever become a casualty of domestic violence as so many others, to stop the abuse and maltreatment before it's too late. There is always hope, and you can survive. In my soft-spoken conclusion, I ask this.
My soft-spoken
Would
conclusion.
I be the darling mother, celebrated woman of the year, if it were I who died?
No. What? No, and you don't get to ask that. Shut up.
I am a survivor. Learn to do good, seek justice, rebuke oppressors, defend the fatherless, plead for the widow. Isaiah 1:17. All-encompassing, protect the abused. My outside scars have healed, except for my stab wound.
Oh my God.
But this has changed me as a person to see things differently and to understand things differently and to...
Yeah, I bet, because you got f***ing caught for murder. Nobody forgives you, and you're going to jail for the rest of your life. I'm sure it has changed you astronomically. If it hasn't, then we need to discuss.
I forever will have this experience. I forever will have George Torres with me in my heart, in my mind, my body, and my soul. As he and I used to say that we were one soul split into two bodies.
I think Sarah Boone is an attention seeker. I think that she is a desperate attention seeker, and I think that she likes things that draw attention to her, whether they're bad or good. And I personally believe that sometimes she says really insane shit because she knows it's going to get a reaction out of somebody, and any attention is good attention. And now we're going to cut to the portion of the video where we were all live waiting for the sentencing. So it's a little more anxious energy because it was all happening now.
She was offered the resolution in this case of 15 years in the Department of Corrections.
Are you serious? They offered her a plea deal of 15 years?
It's important, though. It's not just 15 years in the Department of Corrections. It's 15 years in the Department of Corrections, but it's predicated on something. And the consideration that it's predicated on is the defendant coming to court and accepting responsibility.
Which she did not. I'll go back on those statements.
Coming to court,
No.
I am responsible for George Torres's death. That consideration was never given in this case. It And because that consideration was
She
never
always
given
denied it.
in this case, the offer of 15 years in no way represents what this case is worth, or what George Torres's life is worth. That is an offer predicated on a particular circumstance, a circumstance of a first-time defendant.
A first-time
And
defendant?
every-
Bitch, you don't get to say first-time defendant when you committed one of the most horrific acts that I have ever seen on a fucking true crime channel. First-time
in coming
offender.
to court and saying that they are ready to be punished.
Oh, please. Sarah, in her statement just a few minutes ago, claimed that she was a voice for victims of abuse and she was abused by George Torres. That's what she said.
Sarah Boone sentenced every one of George Torres's loved ones to a life sentence, just like she sentenced George Torres when he was in that suitcase. George Torres lived out his last nightmarish circumstance
Oh my God.
in that suitcase, begging to be let out for several minutes, which undercuts any argument that this was somehow unsophisticated.
Guys,
Torres
this is
was
the
never getting
prosecution
out there.
speaking, by the way, that's trying
Well,
to
she
put her away.
went up to- Your Honor, there's been nothing from the testimony of Dr. Harper either that establishes any type of diagnosis that would give this court a basis to downward depart. Dr. Harper has put blinders on to the fact that she has been incarcerated for 58 months. 58 months with the opportunity to receive mental health treatment.
Did she take it?
The expert witness is absolutely incurious about what any of those records or diagnosis or anything that would have been there would have said.
All right, now Sarah's counsel's going to speak, which, oh, brother. Mr.
First
Pro
off, I
Bono
wanna
over
thank you
here.
for taking the time to.
This is the wrong pro
side
bono to be
of the
taking, my
witnesses.
guy.
This is a unique case.
Yo, that is some real criminal defense attorney shit. This is a unique case. Yeah, of course it is. Of course it
We
is, when it's
all
convenient
know
for you.
A lot of these cases are not black and white.
Oh,
Shades of
brother.
gray. There was an investigation, and it was learned that there was a history of domestic violence involving these two parties. And what we learned was that physically there was violence, and there were photographs to establish that, as were introduced in the trial. And then there was testimony from experts, intimate partner violence, that
God,
she
dude,
suffered
that's so
from this
f***ed
domestic
up that she's
or
using
this
that.
battered spouse syndrome
That is so f***ed up.
as the hands of George Torres. In a domestic violence situation like that, 95% of the women get out of that relationship.
That's so manipulative. That is just so manipulative. We'll go back to her statement a little bit more before this, but I was watching it, and her whole speech was about how she was a victim of domestic violence and how he hurt her and abused her and everything. And his family, this is his family, they had to listen to her spread those lies to try to get herself off the hook. To prey on the jurors' empathy for women who have been battered and abused, to not believe Sarah Boone can make people feel guilty because she's a woman that's claiming abuse and saying, please believe me, please believe me. But we've heard all the details of the case. Sarah is not that. Sarah is not us. Sarah is not the people that have been through that. But she's like, no, guys, look, I'm right here. And she's preying on people feeling guilty by not believing her. And they're using this against the jury right now.
Sarah Boone was entitled under Florida law to present that defense, and she did.
Or I'm sorry, not the jury. I
That
guess it's the
testimony
judge
was
now at this
allowed-
point.
She was allowed to testify.
And
I
life-
don't know you that much other than our time together.
Dude, this
but,
attorney's really trying, though.
From what I know you try to do the right thing. And that's what we're asking,
Implying that not
court
doing
to
what
do.
I want you to do is the wrong thing.
to have some discernment, to have some understanding of the unique situation that Sarah Boone found herself in.
Little legal stuff here,
Thank
a
you.
little something, something.
Yes, sir.
We know that Sarah suffers from some mental health issues,
Agreed.
objective mental health issues that have been opined by Dr. Harper and Dr. Werner, and you heard Dr. Harper testify about the post-traumatic stress disorder that she suffers from as it relates to this event.
Oh, no. He really tried to glaze over that one. Y'all heard that shit, huh? You guys know I don't like to throw any mental stuff under the bus. We will skip forward.
I remember the first time I saw the suitcase video.
He is really trying to chip away at the judge. Bro,
I
please.
can't breathe. What has he done to her? Any loved one you see in a situation like that is going to run and let him out. So my thought was, obviously, they were both drinking. But what has he done to her? And I think it's telling about what she'd endured. So it's not a clear-cut case, Judge. And it's up to you to decide what's appropriate based on the courts, based on the jury's
Did anyone
decision.
from Sarah's family show up?
Any rebuttal
Okay.
by the state?
Any rebuttal? I'll hear the state rebuttal. Give me the rebuttal. Back it up on me.
Court has had the opportunity
Okay,
to
all
review
right.
the evidence and
Cat.
testimony that was presented at trial. The victim impact statements presented here today, the statements of character witnesses, both orally and in writing, Dr. Harper's report and testimony, the arguments of the state and the arguments of the defense.
Oh my God, it's
Court
happening.
pronounces sentence as follows. Ms. Boone,
4 years,
court
guys.
sentences you to life in the Department of Corrections with credit time served that Madam Clerk will provide to you momentarily. There are also court costs and
He
costs of
said that so
prosecution,
fast.
which Madam Clerk will give you the totals of momentarily. Due to the court levying a life sentence, the court is inclined to liquidate those to a civil judgment unless I hear opposition from the state.
All right.
Madam Clerk, if you could please give us the credit time
Liquidate it.
served and the court costs, please.
Oh, yeah, they got the life conviction. Oh my God. He literally looks like him. Oh my God, dude.
You will have 30 days from today to appeal the judgment and sentence in writing. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided to you. I'm going to have the courtroom deputy provide you the paperwork. Because you've been incarcerated for the last 58 some odd months, the court is going to declare that you are
Dude.
indigent in this matter. I cannot appoint the public defender to represent you as they are conflicted out.
You can figure that out
Similarly,
yourself,
I cannot
Sarah.
appoint the Regional Conflict Counsel to represent you for the same reasons. The clerk will appoint an attorney from the conflict wheel who specializes in appellate litigation. And again, you'll have 30 days from today to appeal that judgment and sentence in writing.
I
For you
would
the
love to see her
Department of
taken away.
Corrections, and I wish you the best of luck. State, anything further?
Please keep the camera
Defense,
rolling.
anything further? All right.
We've waited 4
Thank you all
years for
very
this.
much.
All right, Sarah, let's go. I'm not turning this off till they cut the cameras. He handed down that life sentence so fast. Also, guys, butts in seats, because after this we're gonna rewind and watch her statements. Dude, why do you guys think he took this case? Do you think he saw like Camille Vasquez and like Ben getting like so many accolades after doing the Depp Heard trial that he was like, let me collect my. Oh my God, attorney putting his coat on. He leaving, bro. wait. Oh, okay. He was throwing something away. I was like, wait. You know, I can also tell too. He was very nice to her. Like he got through to her somehow. In this version of events, Sarah is a victim and George is the bad guy, and she's misunderstood, and she's the victim. So I consider that to be delusional because that's just not what happened in this case. But she wants to live there because it feels better.